Tish James pulling out the big guns and hiring Hunter Biden's former lawyer, Abby Lowell, to defend the fraud allegations she's now facing. Talk about hypocrisy at its finest. The same thing she tried to go after President Trump, the charges she is now facing, that she inflated her wealth and more. Joining us now is the guy who uncovered it all, right? Forensic accountant Sam Antar. Sam, first off, you are a Democrat. Right?
Yes.
You are not politically motivated in this whatsoever. What did you uncover? What made you start looking?
It was the beginning of a long process of me looking at New York City politicians and how they spend campaign money and taxpayer money, and also comparing their personal financial disclosures to New York State to the property records, the public property records.
What did you uncover?
Okay, with Tish James, there was a few things that were uncovered. First, each one of her financial disclosures to New York State was false. She omitted mortgages from her disclosures, and she even omitted a property from her disclosures. The second thing I learned is that she has mortgages listed on her financial disclosures that do not appear in the property records. It's strange. Third thing I learned is that on one property in Virginia, she has about $510,000 in mortgages, but she lists the valuation of only $100,000 to $150,000. Her words, not mine. Another thing that I learned was that Tish James has a property in Brooklyn that she lists as 4 units, but it's 5 units under the certificate of occupancy. Yesterday, I visited the property with another researcher, Joel Gilbert. We looked at the doorbells. There's 5 doorbells on the premises. I checked the Con Ed records. There's 5 electrical units for each of the things. You can't have a 5-unit building and then occupy 2 units and call it a 4-unit building.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And you know where we're headed, back to New York to speak about who? Letitia James, aka Big Tish, aka the Queen of New York. Unfortunately, I have to give her her respects and that rightful title of the Queen of New York until the federal indictment comes down on her, which is what we all want to see happen. But if that federal indictment doesn't come, then she is indeed looking like the Teflon Donis, who is above the law and can do whatever she wants to do. Right? We need justice, and we need that federal indictment to come down. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that to happen, though, it looks like if truly no one is above the law and the state of New York does what they're supposed to do, it looks like Letitia James may actually be disbarred. She may lose her law license with all these formal complaints and requests for investigations now coming into the fold ever since the criminal referral was sent out to Pam Bondi. I want to jump into this here. Ethics complaint against Letitia James calls for New York State courts to investigate Trump administration fraud claims. Once again, if no one is above the law, as Democrats loved to say in regards to Trump and all of the lawsuits that they were waging against him, then what should happen here is that Letitia James should be getting investigated within her own state, independent of the federal government, to which the likely conclusion would be that she gets disbarred and lose her law license. Let's jump into this article here, and it reads such. New York Attorney General Letitia James is the subject of a new state-level ethics complaint filed by pro-Trump legal nonprofit America First Legal. The AFL complaint filed last week adds to recent woes for James, who's also facing a criminal referral from the Trump administration related to accusations of mortgage fraud. For a state prosecutor who has maligned the president of the United States for political gain, public accountability will serve as the cure to Letitia James's endless lawfare and abuse of power, AFL Vice President Dan Epstein said in a statement to Fox News Digital. I 100% agree with the statement here because as it pertains to Letitia James's lawfare, after the original criminal referral was passed down to Pam Bondi, We all remember this video here that I played on a previous live stream, and many other people played numerous times over, right? And it was of this video here of Letitia James ranting and raving like a lunatic, if you ask me, sounding extremely nervous about the fact that a criminal referral came down, to which she was just talking about how she wasn't going to back down, she wasn't going to bend, fold, or be afraid. We all remember this clip. I do want to take a moment to play it for you guys right now. I'm not going to interrupt. I'm just going to let it go because I've already reacted to it. But there's a reason that I'm playing this for you. But before I get into that, I want to replay this and we could all rewatch this first, which is essentially Letitia James's nervous breakdown that she was having. All right. She sounds extremely nervous. Let's get into this.
My mission is clear. I'm focused. I'm prepared.
I'm nervous. I'm sorry. I know I said I wasn't going to interrupt. I'm sorry. Let me rewind it back. My apologies. I'm focused. I'm prepared. I'm nervous. I'm scared. All right. Let me let it play and let's carry on with this video.
My mission is clear. I'm focused. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've been trained by the best. I went to Howard University that overturned legal segregation in this country. I've been taught in those classrooms where Thurgood Marshall once taught. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you. We're standing up for you. We're fighting on. We're not going down silent. Victory, my friends, is clear. It's now. And I'm not waiting 4 years. I'm waiting 2 until a speaker by the name of Hakeem Jeffries comes to bring us some rest. Come on, ladies. It's up to us. We saved this democracy before. We'll save it now. Let's go.
Oh, it was really hard for me to not interrupt. But why am I playing this? Well, I'm playing this because what I want to do is that I want to show you what she stated before this part in her speech. I want to play for you the way Letitia James actually started this speech off before she essentially started having her little mental breakdown in the end where she was screaming and yelling, right? And this is how she started the speech.
So I've got to rush back to the office because you know that there's nothing more close to my heart than a lawsuit. And so you tell Donald Trump the lawsuit's coming. It's just a matter of hours. It's coming.
So as you can see, there's nothing close to her heart more than a lawsuit. The lawsuit is coming. It's just coming in a matter of hours. This is a woman who loves to engage in lawfare. And I want to just take a moment to prove that point to you guys, right? Outside of the obvious concerning Trump, once again, this was a day after the criminal referral had came out in which it was sent to Pam Bondi. And, you know, she wasn't lying. She said a lawsuit was coming and the lawsuit came. As you can see here, Kathy Hochul, Letitia James joined lawsuit against Trump over tariffs in last clash with Prez, right? So right after she made that statement, a couple of days later, here come the lawsuits, just like she promised she would do. Because as you heard coming out of her own mouth, there is nothing near and dear to her heart than engaging in lawfare. You literally heard her say it. You all know me. There's nothing near and dear to my heart more than a lawsuit. This woman is evil and diabolical. That federal indictment has to come down. But let's get into this article quickly concerning the lawsuit against Donald Trump. New York officials joined a lawsuit against President Trump's tariffs on Wednesday, with Governor Kathy Hochul calling the fees a tax hike that is stirring economic chaos across the U.S. Hochul and Attorney General Letitia James said the Empire State is joining a legal action with 11 other states in a bid to fight back against the Trump administration slapping tariffs on imports globally. The states want the U.S. Court of International Trade to stop the tariffs, including preventing the president from possibly going forward with additional duties that were paused earlier this month, officials said. So you see, they're using lawfare in order to sabotage international affairs and international dealings that Trump has with other countries as far as his negotiating is concerned with fair trade. They're trying to sabotage this man through the courts. Still, this is what Letitia James and the gang is doing. The article continues to read, but we're going to round this out. State leaders warn that tariffs could cause a recession, leading to more than 35,000 lost jobs in New York City. State leaders warn that tariffs could cause a recession, leading to more than 35,000 lost jobs in New York City. The state agencies would be forced to pony up more than $100 million in additional costs because of increased prices, they said. So, once again, this is a lawsuit that isn't rooted in facts. It's not rooted in what will happen, right? What they know will happen or what has happened. It's something that's rooted in pure speculative nonsense, right? That's all that this is. In order to, once again, stop what Trump is doing as it pertains to fair trade negotiations on an international level. So not only do they wage lawfare to stop the deportation of criminal illegal immigrants, but they're also waging lawfare in order to interfere with international affairs as well. These people are diabolical. These people are exactly the people, the tyrants that they claim that they were protecting us from. But keeping the focus on Letitia James, as she stated, the lawsuits are coming, lawsuits plural. I mean, and they've begun. They've begun. So she hasn't learned her lesson and she's still carrying on moving forward. But this is who this woman is. Look at this here. I've spoken about this man before and I made a reference to him in a video clip in yesterday's video that I made. But I want to bring Steve McLaughlin up again very quickly to highlight this point of Letitia James and engaging in lawfare. Who is Steve McLaughlin? Steve McLaughlin is an American politician serving as county executive of Rensselaer County, New York. McLaughlin was elected Rensselaer County executive in November of 2017. Okay. So now what about him, TD? Why are you bringing him up in case you don't know where I'm going with this? Well, a couple of days after, or I should say on the same day that the criminal referral went out, Steve McLaughlin released this letter to the State of New York Grievance Committee. He tweeted, "Today, following allegations of mortgage fraud against her, I have sent a letter seeking disciplinary proceedings to determine whether Letitia James is fit to hold a law license in this state. I believe she is not, and her license should be revoked." And this is the official letter that he wrote to the New York Grievance Committee in order for them to do an investigation and to determine whether or not her license should be revoked, which it should. But why does Steve McLaughlin feel so strongly about that? Well, it's because of the history that he has with Letitia James. If I scroll down here, let me read this to you. Rensselaer County Executive Steve McLaughlin, a Republican, was indicted by James 4 years ago. 4 years ago, she waged lawfare against Steve McLaughlin, right? So now let's come back to the Wikipedia page and find out how that went. On December 1st, 2021, McLaughlin was indicted on 2 felony counts, including grand larceny in the 3rd degree for misusing campaign funds to pay personal debts. On January 25th of 2003, McLaughlin was acquitted of the felony counts by a jury after 1 hour of deliberations. Understand this, please. You have to understand this. After only 1 hour of deliberation, as it pertains to the courts, and when you get charged with something and now you go through the process of having your court date and then it comes down to a jury, typically it takes hours for a jury to come back with a guilty or innocent verdict, right? It takes hours for them to make a decision. When it only takes 1 hour for him to be acquitted, 1 hour is lightning fast in the court of law. That is lightning fast. What that tells you is that when he went to court to fight this out against Letitia James, when all the facts were laid out on the table, the jury saw instantly that this is BS. This man is innocent. He didn't do what Letitia James said that he did. That's why it only took them an hour to make their decision, to which he was quickly acquitted, because it was BS from the jump. But this is who Letitia James is. This is what she does. If she doesn't like you and you are her political opponent, and even if you aren't her direct political opponent, but you're just a Republican, you just happen to be on the other side of that political aisle, if she can find any reason to come at you, she will. And she does. This woman has no business, ladies and gentlemen, having a law license. Now let's get back into the original article that we started out with. The complaint was filed with the New York State Unified Court Systems Committee on Professional Standards, the state-level entity that handles discipline matters for attorneys whose principal office is in the Albany region. The complaint requests that the Attorney Grievance Committee open an investigation into James over accusations of mortgage fraud levied against her earlier this month by the Federal House Finance Agency. The article continues to read, if what Director Polt uncovered is true, then we have a sitting state attorney general who made false certifications to the United States in return for federal benefits, Epstein said. James's actions violate the New York State Bar Association's rule of professional conduct, according to the AFL's complaint. Those rules prohibit lawyers from engaging in illegal conduct that can adversely impact the lawyer's honesty and trustworthiness. It also bars conduct that may not be deemed illegal, but that involves dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation. The article continues to read, I'm always amazed at the rank hypocrisy of politicians who are quick to accuse others of what they are guilty of doing themselves. Fox News legal analysis Greg Jarrett said. James famously intoned to Trump that no one is above the law and that he was ultimately responsible legally for documents prepared by others. Now listen up closely here, because this is so true what I'm getting ready to read. Unlike Trump, James is a lawyer. She knew, or should have known better than a layperson, that those documents were inaccurate and apparently false. She's on record stating that accuracy in such financial records is essential and must be strictly enforced. Her own words have come back to haunt her. No one is above the law has come back to haunt her. In her own words, she's on record for stating it is essential and must be strictly enforced that matters that she has now found herself caught into, that the law must be strictly enforced to punish people participating in this type of activity that she now finds herself in. As I've stated so many times, it's Letitia James who opened up Pandora's box and has now found herself caught up in the snares of her own doing. She's done this all to herself, and nobody else did this to her. Fox News Digital reached out to the New York State Unified Court System handling the AFL's bar complaint to inquire about potential next steps and disciplinary actions, but did not receive a response by publication time. Fox News Digital also reached out to the New York State Bar Association, but the group declined to comment, citing the fact the New York court system is the body that handles attorney discipline and will be the entity adjudicating AFL's complaint. So basically, they just kicked the can forward. Here's my question to all as I close this out. In between the New York State Unified Court System and the New York State Bar Association and the State of New York Grievance Committee, do you think any of these entities will actually move forward with investigating Letitia James independently of the federal government to determine whether or not she should lose her legal license and be disbarred? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not too confident in any of these New York State institutions to do anything, right? Now, they had no problem, Kathy Hochul and the gang, they had no problem trying to remove Eric Adams from his seat as mayor because they didn't like how he was cooperating with the Trump administration. So once again, you see how this stuff plays out. When it was Eric Adams that's cooperating with Trump, oh, we really need to consider whether or not he should be removed from office as mayor. But you have Letitia James caught up in all of this fraud, allegedly, and everybody is quiet. That's why I say, man, at the end of the day, it's all up to that federal indictment. If the federal indictment doesn't come down, then at the very end of the day, Big Tish will continue to reign as the Queen of New York, unfortunately. And that's just the fact of the matter. So we'll see what happens from here. Obviously, I'm going to keep you guys posted. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And most importantly, please, as I always beg of you guys, follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.